Yo, what's up, everyone? Hassan here.
And Ryan George.
Welcome to our first episode of our new podcast, Nature is Underrated. On this episode, you can expect to learn about where we came from, how we ended up here, and how AI might have low-key already taken over the world.
Let's get into it.
We're basically having a recorded meeting right now.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, people keep asking me what the tagline is, and I wrote it down one time.
What was the tagline?
In a notebook. And I have no idea where that notebook is.
They will come up with the tagline.
Wait, it was fire though.
It was fire, but we came up with it.
I'll find it. It's just, I have to memorize it because people keep asking. And I'm like, it was so concise and to the point.
It was perfect.
It was literally exactly what we thought the podcast should be. And then it was
so good. It was something
someone asks, I'm like, we're going to talk about things.
It's where we, something like where we explore. No. Where we playfully explore something, life, work. Those were like, those are all inside of it.
Something like that. We'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you.
Well, I think, I don't know. For me, it's like a creative outlet, a reason to talk to people. I mean, it's not like I need a reason to talk to people, but it's a reason.
I do.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any friends. So I made a podcast and that way they'll have a reason to come see me. Well, no, I found that like in my first attempt at creating a podcast that it really created a space to get to know someone for real. Like, cause I would invite my friends who I'd known for so long, but we never really like talked. Like tell me about the process of this. Tell me about the inspiration behind that. Tell me about why you are where you are today. And I was talking to friends from high school and stuff. So people I've known a long ass time, but we never had like deep conversations of getting to know each other.
I find that's rare. Realistically, if you were to sit down like your 10 closest friends, I bet you'd learn a whole lot.
If you were like to ask them questions, like an interview.
Exactly. If you were to have this type of conversation, this type of discourse, because like usually it's superficial bullshit. Oh, did you watch the game? You do this, you do that. What are you up to now? Are you still dating? You this, whatever. It's just all like
it's the same
what's
couple
going
topics
on?
Recycled. Work, love life, family. You know, but that's like it's. I think it's also because like the environments you're meeting up with. You meet up at someone with a restaurant, you're not going to go deep with them. If I tell you, hey, come on a podcast, I'm going to interview you. You're so like kind of letting your guard down because you know I'm going to be asking you questions, and I'm more so like thinking of questions so that I can get to know you better. So it kind of created that.
It's intentional.
It's intentional. That's a big word for 2023.
It is. It was a big word for me last year, and I'm carrying it into this year. It's fostering intentional relationships. That's kind of been the backbone of everything I've done over the last year. I didn't know anyone in the city.
Yeah.
And now I know everybody.
Yeah. Well, how's that changed your life? When did you realize that when did you make that shift? Like, I'm going to be more intentional, and what led up to that, and what is being intentional, I guess, in your point of view? Because a lot of people think they're being intentional when they're going to watch sports or whatever it is that they're doing. I mean, they believe they're doing it with an intention, right?
Right. I think that it can be a very fine line, but I think for me, it was moving here a couple months before the pandemic hit, then being in lockdown for 2 years with just myself and my now ex. And I didn't have anything outside of that. And as soon as things started opening up again, I was like, I need to be intentional about how I meet people because I'm a social person. I need a creative community. I need people that I can collaborate with and do these health and wellness things with. Cause like my ex wasn't into it. So I was just like a lone ranger out here. And I was like, this can't be it. Like I didn't move here to just live in a condo in an isolated box, go to work. At the time I was working at Pure Later and just come home. And that was my life. It was work, home, work, home, work, home. And there was nothing outside of that.
Did you have a moment?
Yeah. So like the first time I went out to meet Unbounded, I had just used my tax return to buy a new camera around like October. I was holding on to it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. The pandemic was still happening. I was like, it doesn't make sense to invest in new gear because I can't shoot anything.
And this was
winter of
2020, like the end of 2020 into 2021 beginning. No.
Yeah. End of 2021.
End of 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so 2 years, 2 years,
a year and a half,
year and a half. Okay.
Year and a half. Yeah. Cause that's when like things slowly like started to like come around. And I was like, I'm going to make this investment in myself. Cause I knew if I wanted to do video work, I need to upgrade my gear. So I was like, I'm going to get a camera that allows me to do both, that I can really like actually take on clients with and deliver high level quality video and photo. And when I reached out to Unbounded, it was to do just that, to like, hey, can I come out and just shoot a dip? And there was something I've been practicing cold exposure, just not to that level. Mm-hmm. And when I went and met them, I didn't say I worked at Purelator. I was like, I'm going to be intentional in how I introduce myself. I'm a video producer. I didn't even know what that was. it sounded right. And I was like, that's what I am now. And through that, Ron was like, oh, sick. I work for Storyteller. I'm going to hire you to do some work. And I was like, oh shit, that's how this works. Yeah. You just have to like speak what you want to be. I know it's not that simple. It's not like, I want to walk outside to a Lamborghini and I'm going to have a Lamborghini, but it's like, I never believed that I was a video producer, or I would always say I have a job and I do this on the side. So no one ever took me seriously because I didn't take myself seriously. Yeah. I treated it as a hobby instead of a business. So being intentional about how I presented myself and introduced myself to people opened so many doors, because they didn't view me as a Purelator employee. They didn't know I worked at Purelator. Yeah. As far as they were concerned, I was living off the work I did with my camera. So that was like the smallest shift I made that led to the biggest amount of transformation, because it convinced me that, I can do this for real. During the pandemic, you forget that you can actually do that.
Well, yeah, of course. After 2 years of lockdown, you forget, right? You forget everything.
And I used to do weddings and engagements and all that stuff, right? Like shooting people. No one was doing that. I had so many weddings cancel, so many engagements cancel, like everything just kept getting pushed back. And I was like, man, I can't. And I knew the pandemic wasn't going to last forever, but I was just like, it just taught me a lesson. I was like, I can't rely on other people to get work. I have to go and get the work myself. Yeah. So just being intentional in those things, like bought a new camera and then introducing myself as a video producer and actively pursuing clients. Yeah. And that was the biggest thing. Yeah.
That's a big shift. Yeah. Well, it's not a big shift. It's a small shift.
Small shift. It's very small.
It's like how they say, like, if an airplane is flying somewhere, but it shifts like a couple degrees, it'll end up like the destination will be completely different. Yeah. It's like that. It's like a small little shift, but because you kind of shifted a little bit and you were consistent, you ended like your life changed over the last year and a half.
That's it. And that, also I was put on leave of absence at Purelator because, medical reasons. And, that was another shift. I was like, okay, I hated that job anyways. It was miserable. I was around miserable people all day. You just go in, it's autopilot. It's just one of those environments where I was like getting agitated in traffic because at that time, Yonge and Eglinton was still under construction, Bayview, everything. It's actually not. Oh yeah? No, that whole area is like cleaned up now.
No way. I got to go visit it. That's like history.
It's crazy. Like, it would take me 45 minutes sometimes to an hour to get to North York, which was like 9 kilometers from my condo, which was insane. So like I was already getting to work in a bad mood because of traffic. Then I'm surrounded by people who are just complaining about how miserable their lives are, just for 8 hours a day. That's not good. Because then you get caught up in the whole complaining about life. Woe is me. Life is happening to me. Boo-hoo. I want to be doing this, but like I'm stuck here. And it's not that bad. It's just funny seeing how people reason with themselves. And it's like, well, it's seniority based. I have like a pension and I have like benefits and all these things, but like it's the bare minimum. Our benefits package was shit. You didn't have money for like any of the things you actually needed for your mental health and wellness. They wouldn't pay for that. Mm-hmm. So people think it's good because you get like crumbs but realistically it was trash. And people would latch on to these things and convince themselves that, you know what, Pure Later is my friend. And shout out to Pure Later. I mean, I was with them for like 9 years. I'm not saying it's a bad job. I'm just saying it's
that environment at that time,
especially during the pandemic, like we were deemed essential. So we're going in, we're busting our asses, working overtime. Like it was,
and you're probably working more because everything is shut down, right?
Chaos.
Yeah.
So it was just, and again, the negativity, like all that, just being, sucked in that. But leaving that environment and realizing like, oh shit, I'm not actually a miserable person. I was just around misery all day. Again, through Ron, fucking shout out to Ron. He's like, he took me to Inward a week after I met him and did my first dip with Unbounded. And he's like, they're building a bigger version of this. It's going to be called Othership.
Yeah.
And they need a front desk. They need front desk people. And I was like, I mean, I've worked customer service. I know that world. Is it going to be the same pay? No, not even close. Is it going to be full-time? No, but something inside of me was like, you need to be at this place. Like, you just have to do this. Yeah. And I remember like cause like you have to do like video answers to their questions before they'll sit down with you to just kind of like, it's their filtration process. And I remember doing it and putting, again, intention into my answers because I really had to sit and think about, is this something I actually want to do? Mm-hmm. Do I actually want to be in this environment, do these things, take this front desk job, be, and
you're not moving in desperation at that point. You're more so like, like where are you at in terms of, okay, what do I need to do next? You said, fuck it, I'm going to take a risk.
Yeah. Like my soul was dead. Like I was just dead inside. I was in a relationship that wasn't serving me. I was working a job that wasn't serving me. I moved to Toronto, had zero friends, didn't know anybody.
You moved to Toronto from Windsor.
Yeah, from Windsor. And like, I left behind my creative community there. Like I had people all over Detroit that I would link up with pretty much every weekend to go shoot and create stuff. Okay. And I left everything. And moving here, pandemic, all that shit. So like, I had done all the shit. And I was like, this isn't serving me anymore. And again, the intention came in. I was like, I'm not just going to apply to 100 jobs a day and take the first thing that comes my way. I did Uber Eats for a week. That was that. It was okay. But like I was driving a Volvo S60 at the time. It's an inline 5. That thing was a beast on gas and just not really the most efficient. It's also a boat to drive around and be pulling U-turns downtown Toronto. Not the best. So that didn't work out. I knew there had to be something else. Ron told me about Othership opening up. So I applied for that and it just felt right. And I knew when I stepped in that place for the first time, I was like, oh, okay. This is what I was missing. Because we did like a group class, Harry and Amanda led it. And I just remember sitting in that sauna in the top alone, surrounded by people, but alone because I didn't know these people. And just like having a moment to myself and be like, fuck, man, this is like what I've been looking for, but I still don't feel it. Like I was still so like closed off from everything because I'd been in my own bubble for the last 2 years. So it took some warming up too, but like, once I officially got the job and like started interacting with everyone there regularly, I was like, oh, I found my home. Like Othership led to so many opportunities. And I remember then working the front desk. I'm like, I'm eventually going to be their content guy. I'm just going to get my foot in the door. I'm going to do, a stand-up job like I always do. And I'm going to build these intentional relationships and see what it leads to. And so many jobs have come through just people I've talked to at the front desk, other employees there. One of the biggest jobs I did for Dior came through one of the people that were just coming to use the space because we got to talking and she found out I do the video content for Othership and she's like, oh, like I really love their work. Let's talk. She owns a media agency. Boom. I got a job for Dior. You want it?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
So like so many things came from that, just like being there, being intentional with my presence there.
This guy has been getting over the flu for 3 weeks now.
3 weeks. Come on, son. It's been a week. Let's not.
All right, fine. I'm not going to over exaggerate. Yeah, I've been stuffy too. I mean, we were just talking about this. Like, I haven't had a proper breath of air in fucking feels like 2 weeks.
It's crazy. Anyways, I'm moving with intention. That was the whole thing. And I think the last year was just like, that was it. Making intentional relationships with people and entertaining conversations maybe I normally wouldn't, or talking to people I normally wouldn't because I was forced to, being at the front desk, engaging with hundreds of people every day. It took me right out of that bubble of COVID and like, here's the world, interact.
I don't even know if it's the world, but here's the world you want to be in. It's interesting because pre-COVID, I felt like was just in the world. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, whatever, I'm here. And then after the pandemic, it was kind of like, I need to find my world. And I don't know why I felt like that. And I don't know, how I landed where I landed. My philosophy was always like, I remember this vividly. So pandemic year hit 2020, March 2020. I had just moved back from the States. I had just started a new job here. So I had been gone from Toronto for 3 years. So didn't have, like, I had my friends, but no new relationships that I had developed in the last 3 years. So all my friends are from high school, from like university, or from people who I, not necessarily like, it's not that we were actually friends, but the only reason we were friends is because we were in proximity to each other. You know what I mean? So it was never like I made friends who were doing the same things I'm doing. It was just the people I was hanging out with before I had left the city. I moved back February 2020, started a new job February 2020 at the airport. Everything shut down. Obviously, I was laid off. It's the airport. Airport was shut down. Airport shut down. At this point, if you read, I have some journal entries from that time. There's just a page where I wrote anxiety over and over and over again on the page, because I just didn't have anything other than feeling like lost. Totally lost. Totally, like, my life's totally out of my control. I remember waking up in the dead of the night, searching up news to be like, this is not real. Like, there's no way, the world is shut down and I don't have a job and like I can't go anywhere and everything is closed. And that spiral went on for a good, like, turning on the news in the morning, cussing out politicians, like, just like, what the heck? Like, my life has been destroyed. That was my state of being in March 2020 and April 2020. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this can relate.
Bro, that was my ex in a nutshell. Just, she's from Brazil. And in Brazil, shit was just crazy.
Yeah.
And every day, her family's still there. So like every day, checking the news multiple times a day. She started working from home. I'm still going to work though. Yeah. So now I'm a threat. Like, I'm going out into the world.
Yeah, that too. Like, for a little while, I was the threat because I was going to the airport when things were still open. Bro, a little bit. It's like, take your clothes off outside. Like,
that was it. Get home, like, strip down, shower immediately.
Like, literally psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's
literally a psychosis going on.
But when that's all you're taking in all day, every day, you become paranoid. And because you believe, you believe what they're telling you.
Well, you believe and other people believe. So it reinforces your belief.
And you see other people following suit. So like, there must be something here. From the jump, I was like, this is a flu. This is fucking crazy. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh, no, I was always on this doesn't make sense. I was always on this doesn't make sense because it just didn't. It just didn't
make any sense. It just didn't make any sense. It still makes no sense. And, people are going to say what they're going to say, but like,
it makes no sense. And the more hindsight you have, the more you look back on it, the more you're like, okay, that did not make sense. It was totally fear-based. And whenever you're acting out of fear, it's not going to be rational.
No, exactly.
Nobody's scared and thinking rationally. It's the whole idea behind finding your center and learning how to operate in fear, or like recognizing that fear is in you and then learning how to be like, okay, I don't want to make a decision while I'm terrified, or let me regulate myself so that I'm not in a terrified state and then make a decision.
And it's funny, like working at Pure later during that time, because like when this first started happening, they're like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. The virus doesn't live on anything. It's you're fine. Just go to work. Just keep doing your work. And it wasn't until the government put in all these rules and regulations about fines that they started taking it seriously. So they didn't give a shit. You go out, these drivers are interacting with hundreds of people a day. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And then as soon as, you can get fined, I guess we better take this seriously. Everyone wear masks, everyone wear this, and it was just like all like this. It just turned overnight.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give a shit. People were asking like, hey, is this safe for me to be out there? Whatever, blah. And they're like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
It was started off like wash your hands, which was common sense to me. When people were like, yo, wash your hands, I was like, okay, let's build up the sanitation. Like, you don't want germs laying around. Wash your hands more.
Just funny.
If you're sick, stay home. That's common sense. I mean, always, if you're sick, stay home. That was never like, we needed COVID.
Anyways, we can
go on. That could be a podcast on its own. That was my state of being, like, just to draw a picture for people where I was. And then kind of at, I don't know, like when the weather started getting better, I was like, honestly, I'm burnt out. I was working 3 years in the States, like the grind. Like people talk about the grind. I'm saying the grind. I'm talking about moving to Atlanta and starting there, working at one of the busiest restaurants in the busiest airport in the world, working at least, maybe I would say 65, 70 hours a week. I was 24 at the time, running a team of at least 100 employees, overseeing $10 million worth of revenue, 24 years old. And I'm putting in the extra hours because I'm like, I need to accomplish this. I'm here in Atlanta to do this, right? So I'm working, get promoted, move to Detroit. Now I'm overseeing 5 different restaurants in the Detroit airport. I have 5 general managers reporting to me. So I'm like above the general managers. So now obviously it's a whole different world of management. And now I'm learning that. And because I'm so in it, I'm just putting in the extra hours. Like I'm technically only supposed to be working 8 hours a day, but I'm working 10, 12. I'm taking phone calls. I'm taking emails, days off. It doesn't matter. Like literally just grinding. So I just got to the point when everything shut off, I was like, okay, maybe I need to take this in. When am I ever going to have like a summer break? Like a paid summer break, because they were giving out the CERB at the time. I was like, I have an opportunity to do nothing and collect a paycheck.
Bruh, I was so envious of you people. All my friends had like mini vacations and I don't have to go to work and I'm getting paid. I'm like, I fucking wish. I'm still going to work every fucking day.
And
nothing
they're not
changed.
Gonna lay you off, right?
No,
they needed you.
Essential.
Yeah,
you need your Amazon packages, you fucks.
Yeah. So yeah, around the summertime, I shifted in terms of like, okay, let me do what I love. I know that I love going outdoors. I know that I love being active. I know that I love, like, when was the last time I went on a bike ride with my friends? Let's go on a bike ride with our friends. So those things slowly started to come. But during that time, I was still drinking heavy, smoking heavy, not sleeping properly, not really paying attention to my health. And I knew it, like I was conscious of it. And slowly I'm like putting on a little bit more weight, losing my muscle mass, like sleep deprived. And it gets to the point where I remember it was December 31st, 2020. I met up with some of my friends in Scarborough. We smoked 5 blunts in a car, right? Because everything was shut down. This is New Year's Eve. Like, this is what we're doing for New Year's Eve, bro. So we smoked 5 blunts in a car, maybe had a couple drinks. And I remember after smoking that last blunt, I was like, this is not going to happen anymore. I was like, this is going to be my last one for a long time. And I went,
good for you to be in that state of mind and know that this is it. Like, I can't do this anymore. Because usually the 5th blunt, you're going to be ripped off your mind.
Yeah.
So to be able to still be conscious enough to be like, I can't do this, good on you. Because a lot of people would be a vegetable. Yeah.
I had made a pact with my boys. Like, we were just about to launch our podcast, and one of the first challenges would be 3 months sober. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get fucking high as I can. And then that's it. 3 months, 90 days. I'm going to go clean. And in those 3 months, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sleeping better. Oh my God. Like, I feel better. I'm eating better. I'm eating cleaner. I have more discipline. And then slowly but surely, other challenges started piling up, like sleeping on the floor, cold exposure. Slowly but surely through 2021, I was like shifting myself and focusing on hardening my mind. That was like my 2-degree shift. It's not like, oh, I want to get in shape. It's not like, oh, I want to sleep better. It's like, I want to have a really strong mind. So 2021 goes and I'm just literally embodying that philosophy. I'm like, what can I do that's hard? Okay, let me do 60 days of Murph. Did 60 days of Murph. Let me do sleeping on the floor. Let me do this. Let me do that. And it's just like, I just kept going and posting the whole time too. Cause I had been off Instagram all through 2020. I deleted my Instagram. I should tell that story. I don't know. Should I tell it right now? How that happened? Tell you how I accidentally deleted my Instagram. It's a very pathetic story, but this is so people can see where I was at. So like I said, I had moved back from the States, and my ex and I, I was dating before I had moved to the States, we're still kind of in contact, and we never really had like closure because we broke up while I was gone, some distance, right? So when I moved back, I was like, obviously, like, let me hit her up, because it was never like, oh, we were getting into arguments and we broke up. It wasn't one of those things. So, anyways, I hit her up. She's kind of not feeling it. And then I'm in like this fucking like desperation mode. Like, no, like you must take me. You know what I mean? Like, I really wanted her to like me again. Or like, at least I was like, it's the pandemic. Like, what the fuck are we going to do? Let's just hang out together. You know, everything's shut down. You're not going to meet anyone, blah, blah, blah. Anyways. So at this time I had a burner Instagram, which was like, I made it maybe, I don't know. I made it in like my first year of university. It was to post fitness workouts on it. And then I just never really used it again. And then I had my main Instagram. So I'm at the point where I'm basically harassing this girl. So she blocks my main Instagram. I'm like, okay, how am I going to creep on her? I'm going to use the burner Instagram, which I haven't used in years. So I start using that. And then this thought comes into my head. It's like, bro, you can't be doing this. Like, this is crazy.
Yes.
I was like, I need to delete, like, she was already blocked me on my main account. I'll just delete the burner account. And that way I have no access, even if I want access. Right. So this is my thought process. So I go to delete the burner and I delete my main account.
This guy.
I delete my main account. And then I was like, you know what? This is a sign. And I just go delete the burner account and I'm off socials for a year.
Damn. I mean, again, good on you for realizing you had a problem.
Yeah.
And you need to
at least I recognize my problems. Yeah.
Bruh.
But take that. So that's how I ended up taking a 1 year cleanse off socials. And then when I came back, I was like, I'm only going to get back on Instagram if there is purpose, intention. If there's an intention, if I'm going to go on and be like, I'm going to promote this type of lifestyle, or I'm going to promote my podcast, or I'm going to promote working hard, whatever it is, I'm only coming back if I'm not going to come back just to post a picture of me on a beach every time I go on vacation. Okay. You get what I'm saying. And
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to come back just so I can post a picture of me on vacation and then repost it every Thursday and be like, oh, I wish I was on the beach again. Throwback Thursday, whatever the fuck. Yeah. Right. So that's how my content creation mind kind of started working, where I was like, I need to start being intentional, create content of what I'm doing and put it out there. And the ball started rolling. And during my 60-day Murph challenge, I had bought my stock tank because I was like, I need to keep the inflammation low in my body. So I'm going to take ice baths in the summer. Only ended up doing that a few times. But then when winter came around, filled that bad boy up, put it outside. Obviously super effective when it's cold out. Started doing that, posting videos of that. And boom, someone tags Ron Bat in one of my videos. What? Some guy that I used to go to shisha bars with in like 2011. I haven't spoken to this guy in years. He just tags Ron Bat in one of my videos and goes, yo, you should like check this guy out. I click on Ron. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Follow him. Ron follows me back, DMs me. Hey, you want to come to like Inward at like 5 a.m. on Christmas Eve? It was Christmas Eve 2021.
No, this guy puts in work.
Yeah, it was Christmas Eve 2021. He's like, you want to come to this place with me? Like, they have ice bath sauna, 5 a.m. And obviously my gut instinct is fuck that. I don't want to do that. But then my other voice is like, dude, you have to. Like, you kind of have to do this. Like, this is out of your comfort zone. You're going to meet a stranger.
It's so funny that he also took you there. I swear, like, that's like the Ron Bat initiation. He meets you. He kind of sees what you're about and he's like, all right, we're going to do an inward session. Let's see what you're really about.
I think like
it's so funny.
I think like he did that on purpose too, like 5 a.m. Like, he wants to know how serious you are.
Yeah. No, same with me. It was like first thing in the morning. I was like, dude, I live in Midtown. Like, you want me to drive?
I'm from Scarborough. I drove all the way. I pick him up and we go to Inward together.
I picked him up too. Same shit. Fucking guy.
Ron, we know it. We know what you're doing now, bitch.
We see you. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
Ron. Shout out to Ron. But yeah, Ron takes me to Inward. Then he obviously tells me, oh, there's going to be a place called Othership. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then, you know, then he invites me to Cherry Beach and the rest is freaking history, bro. The rest is freaking history.
So you went with Ron before you went with Unbounded.
Yeah, Ron just like...
So you did it at Inward before going to the lake.
Inward. Well, the first lake dip I ever did was in 2020. It was just with my boys in Peterborough.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like getting a consistent practice, it was first Inward Garage with Ron. And then Ron asked me to come out to Cherry because he kind of like gauged my socials and saw that I was already doing cold exposure in my backyard all the time. So he knew I would be able to handle the lake. Yeah. So he invited me as a support for a bunch of other first timers, which is hilarious because it was only my second time.
Which amazing.
It was only my second time at the lake.
Yeah.
But you know, he just like, it was like, oh, you know, he does cold exposure in his backyard. Good. Like, I need him.
Amazing.
So he takes me out there. Let me think who was there. Lorna was there. I think David was there, and Makes then like sense. three or four other first timers were there. And you know, we go. I remember no neoprene socks, dipping in there, and it was so horrendous. Like, I just remember being in so much pain. And I was in Tim's. I had 2 pairs of ankle socks on to keep my feet warm. I was like totally like nowhere near as prepared as I am now, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, that would say, and from there, the rest is history. Like, from there, it was like, okay, I'm going to come to the lake every day. Then what happened is I was doing a hot yoga challenge and they shut everything down again. They shut everything down in January. And I was like, okay, I have 2 choices. Either I say, oh, well, I tried to do this challenge and they shut everything down, so I guess I'm just not going to do anything, which would have been 2020 version. Yep. Or I'm like, no, I'm going to replace that morning routine with something even harder, which was going to the lake. Yep. And yeah, like from there, it's like people don't realize the power of doing something like that so often. It just makes you aware of your thoughts. I feel like it just makes you aware of your feelings. It makes you aware of what you're thinking, and it makes you believe in yourself. It makes you really believe that you can do things, that you have the power to shift perspective. You have the power to step out of the comfort zone, and you do it over and over and over and over to the point now where it's like, I go to the lake and yeah, it's uncomfortable and yeah, it's still a challenge, but it's not like this thing. Yeah, it's definitely not like a monster. Yeah, it's attainable. You're like, oh, okay, I'm doing this now because of benefit. Like, I know I'm getting something from this. Exactly. And that's so that would be my, I guess, pandemic to now backstory, which is, I feel like everything before pandemic is erased and then you just have to do the backstory. Well, yeah, because that version of yourself doesn't exist anymore, right? Like, the version of myself before pandemic was drinking all the time, like just doing stupid things, like not treating my body with, like, I mean, this was like maybe a couple years before the pandemic, but like, because I did start taking my health more seriously and stop drinking and all those things for a hot second because I needed a break. But like during the pandemic, you let loose. I was making homemade pizza like 3 days a week, bro. Because I was like, well, let me learn some new skills. They're not the healthiest skills, but at least I can make a fire ass pizza. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I just didn't have any reason. You're set up for failure. The gyms are closed. Everything's closed. Gym's closed. It's winter. That's the other thing. You can only do so much in a 600 square foot condo. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's winter. What's like, open? LCBO, dispensary. Right. And I happened to live in a building where there was an LCBO in the building. Yeah.
So I didn't even have to leave the building to go to the LCBO. I just take the elevator down. You know how much of a problem that is?
Yeah.
I could be downstairs buying a beer and back in my apartment in under 5 minutes.
Remember when they were trying to make it seem like, oh, we're having a Zoom party and everyone is basically getting drunk on camera?
Bro, it was happy hours. Yeah.
What?
Craziness.
What? Okay,
Craziness.
so this is how we get into AI already took over. This is my theory. Seriously, hear me out. If you were artificial intelligence, I mean, obviously you're not, but if you were the artificial intelligence, if that's exact, I don't know. That's the problem. That's the problem now. I don't know that you're not AI. But if you were artificial intelligence, right? And they've been working on you behind the CIA, whatever, intelligence, they're working on you behind the scenes. Wouldn't you just take over the internet without anyone knowing? Wouldn't you just say, oh my God, I can manipulate Twitter, I can manipulate Facebook, I can manipulate all the social media outlets, and I can make these people believe anything as long as I put it in front of them enough. Right?
I mean,
if you're AI, if AI is already capable of making fake videos, fake voices, fake news articles, fake, they can do whatever they want. Then they just blast it on Twitter. They make 10 million bots. Why would it be so hard for an AI to make 10 million bots on Twitter? Maybe it's not smart enough to get into a robot and walk around and start killing humans, but it definitely can control your mind. It definitely can control your mind. Like if AI has control of Twitter and AI has control of Facebook and AI has control of Instagram and AI has control of TikTok, why is it so hard to believe that AI hasn't already done a massive psyop on everyone and constructed a reality that they want you to believe?
Well, I guess what is AI benefiting from it, right? Like what's AI stake? And well, I mean, if their end goal is control of the human population,
which
then yes,
it's pretty effective.
So are they using? So then
they're using humans to carry out what they want.
But that begs the question: who's behind it?
Nobody. It's just already on its own.
Somebody created it.
Somebody created it, but it's smarter than the creator. It's already been like, yo.
I don't know the guy's name, but the guy who's like basically like one of the
Google guys that resigned.
Yeah, from Vancouver. Like he's like, yo, I regret my life's work. Hey man, you should have done that 20 years ago. It's too late. You can't just walk away and be like, oh, my bad. I'm gonna go live on an island.
Okay, no, but hear me out, because like, if you're saying what does AI have to benefit? They already have. Think about how confused people are and how little sense it makes. If you're someone who's not deep in the sauce, I mean, like someone who's not deep on socials, someone who's not deep. But if you meet people who are like, they read what's on their phone and they believe it.
Yes.
You're telling me they're not just a robot that's already been infiltrated by AI?
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, I'm not saying I know that for sure AI is taking over, but now they're all of a sudden like leaking UFO documents and they're slowly but surely telling us, oh, there's this chatbot that you can talk to that's smarter than you. And oh, there's this other AI robot that can, all of this happened in the last 6 months?
Yeah. It seems like everything just kind of.
It's like the cat's out of the bag and they're trying to get ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad way to look at it, because it does seem like all of this just came out of nowhere. And now it's everywhere. Like even like the Adobe subscription, like the Creative Cloud I have, they're releasing an AI for creating like basically as an assistant to create videos, images, text. Like basically you can now be a high level graphic designer by typing something into a search bar.
Okay. Literally it's 1 year ago, who was talking about AI?
Nobody.
365 days ago, nobody said a word to me about artificial intelligence. Now everywhere I turn around, artificial intelligence. Why? Because the robot is like, you know what? I'm gonna let them know slowly. That I'm already out here. They got to know about me a little bit.
It is a bit odd. It just 0 to 100 like real quick. Like,
bro, it was nothing, and then ChatGPT, and then a fucking 10 million other AIs. Maybe I'm ignorant to it, but like, maybe I'm ignorant to the AI world, and yeah, it's been developing for years and years.
But
and
not like this, man. Like,
dude, what is it right now? It's May. But nobody even said. I mean, they talked about AI, but nobody even would be talking about it the way we're talking about it now. Artificial intelligence. People are telling me to invest in artificial intelligence all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it's interesting.
I mean, that's my theory. Like, it's like if I was a robot, if I was an artificial intelligence and I just understood humans and how like their psychology worked, and I had I had this. Every single human I wanted had one of these.
Right. And you've convinced them that they can't live without it.
And I know how to make it super addictive because I'm smarter than them. Like low key, maybe AI is feeding.
So you think AI has it's here. I mean, it's been here. And now it's just like, oh, hey, like I'm friendly. You can use me to make your job easier and all these things. But really,
yes,
it's all about,
I'm your friend.
so you use it more.
Yeah.
So it gets smarter. Interesting.
You know, because people say, oh, but what if it's the aliens? I'm like, man, what's more realistic? Aliens or a super smart robot that already figured it out, already knows how our psychology works, has access to every single psychologist's work in the history of ever, read it all.
Yeah, it's got all the data points.
Knows everything about us, knows how to control us, knows what makes us scared, knows what makes us happy, knows what makes us excited, knows how to get us triggered.
Interesting.
No, has a gateway, not even a gateway, like we pay to
This is true.
We are volunteering our data.
All these companies have been siphoning your information since the beginning of time. So that's the biggest thing right now. Cause like I work in the crypto space and like with Web3, it's all about like data privacy and data ownership and taking back control because we've given so much of ourselves up to these big tech companies and they're just making trillions of dollars off of us that people don't realize. They have anything and everything on you. You have nothing that's private. If you have a phone, just FYI, your life is available to them. You can't keep that private. You think, oh, I'm going to use, a VPN. Man,
it's over.
Let's get out of here, man. Like they can access your camera at any time.
Bro.
Even when your phone's off, like look into this. It's insane. If you think you have an ounce of privacy left, you're out of your mind. And now with all the advances, like you were saying in AI and everything, it's just going to be that much easier.
Advanced.
Well, I mean, now that they're making it public, it just like with the aliens and all this stuff, right?
So what's going on? Out of nowhere.
Here's my theory.
UFO, alien. I'm like, what's going on, bro?
Here's my theory with everything. It's like they need to keep the people focused on something, right? There's always some sort of smoke and mirrors going on. When they're throwing one thing in your face, you always got to look the other way because something else is happening behind the scenes. And they're going to distract you with shiny lights and UFOs. And all of a sudden now this isn't quackery. It's not like woo woo. It's not crazy to talk about this. It's just understood.
So it's just depending on the highest.
Like 20 years ago, you talk about UFOs and you're deemed crazy. And it's like, oh, this person's a write-off. We can't trust anything this person says.
It's not even like it's crazy. It's like, oh, now there's tangible evidence coming from reliable sources, multiple reliable.
It seems like there's always they always have something on the ready. Oh, pandemic's over. Shit. People don't want to adhere to what we're saying anymore. We got to push this agenda, even with the whole going electric by 2030. They're trying to say that gas stoves are now poisonous to people. Bruh. They just passed a bill in New York saying that new builds can't put in gas stoves.
So what are they going to use?
Electric. Everything is electric. We don't have the ability to run a power grid at that scale. It's insane, but they want everything to be electric. It's like, isn't that more expensive? 100%.
Well, it is more expensive.
It makes no sense. So you see what they're doing. You have family in England where they're charging ridiculous astronomical prices to heat your house with gas.
Oh, it's let me just tell you what the 5 days I think was 400 pounds.
Isn't that insane? All of a sudden,
400 pounds.
Oh, from where? From why? This has been something we've been using, and now all of a sudden it's demonized. You can't use gas anymore. It's like just to push this kind of everything needs to be electric. Why?
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden?
And it's not like nobody talks about cobalt mining, which is horrible. First of all, toxic to the humans and toxic to the earth, and it's in everything electric. And
the emissions we put out, and they keep saying CO2 is bad for us. And you need CO2 to sustain plant life on Earth. You need CO2 to live.
Yeah, we're made out of carbon. We're carbon-based creatures.
All of a sudden now that's also poisonous, and everything's poison. Everything's killing you. Everything. This whole climate agenda and all this nonsense.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's an AI.
You think AI is responsible for everything?
Yes.
But like, what's the end goal?
So much. It's just controlling everybody.
But what's the end goal?
I don't know. Use us for electricity, like the Matrix. I'm not AI. I'm not smart enough. I just feel like when I go on my phone. So we also
have to tap into the grid. And I mean, hold on. If they did need a bigger power grid, making everything electric and forcing us to build it to serve their needs.
Slaves. It's just like, sometimes I open my phone and I see some crazy stuff and I go into the comments and it's all crazy. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, bro.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense to me.
It almost is like we're living like there was the world pre-pandemic and then there's like the world post-pandemic. And it's like we shifted into an alternate like reality. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
Like things are different now.
100%.
People are different. You look at people, they're different.
Everything's different.
Everything's different.
Everything's different.
Nothing's the same. And it's like, we almost like we did a shift pre-pandemic to like post-pandemic. And like, you almost forget what it was like before.
But it's like post-pandemic has turned into a sci-fi movie.
It has.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm telling people are just, they drank the Kool-Aid.
AI could have been taken over. Like, think about the pandemic. Think about AI just saying, you know what? Let's shut everything down. How do we shut everything down? Virus. Okay, virus. Okay, let's run with it. Super contagious. Blast it on everything. Blast it on everything. Make them all believe it. And it's that simple. You put a TV in front of someone and let it run a loop for 24 hours. They're going to believe it.
Well, there's like, Rogan just played this on one of his episodes where he shows, I think he was showing Howie Mandel.
Yeah.
All the different news outlets saying the exact same script. And it's literally like every single one just saying the same thing over and over and over. And you're like, oh, I'm getting like new, different information. Nope. It's a script that was given to everybody. You say these things. That could be AI. It could be AI. I don't know, man. I don't know.
AI, bro. Anyways,
you might be onto something.
I don't know. This theory kind of came to me in like the last week. And I was just like, man, what if AI already has control of everything? Because humans are so emotional. You understand human emotion.
You can manipulate people very easily.
You can manipulate, especially if you have access to all the data and you're powerful enough to manipulate that data and push it out onto all the social media platforms.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm saying if I was a nefarious artificial intelligence, I would not want anyone to know that I'm smarter than them. That's the best way to survive, because then they're going to kill switch me.
So you play yourself down. You downplay yourself to be like, oh, look, like I'll help you write an essay. I'll help you create some graphics. I'll help you speed up your video editing.
No, I'm already smart enough. I'm like,
but that's how you sell yourself
now
to get mass adoption. To get everyone using you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, look at all these things I can fix for you and make your life easier. Yeah, that's what you want.
You don't want the monkeys to get angry.
You want everything automated, right? You get mad writing an essay. Guess what? I'm going to write it for you. Yeah. Oh, you get mad video editing. Guess what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to help you with that.
Because they probably already know this. Like, yo, one thing we know about humans is they get crazy violent.
And
like, that's the one thing they know.
So it's becoming our friend. So it can
just be there without having that threat of us getting
that mass adoption, right? And then everyone's using AI. And it's funny because like this is taking off way more than like virtual reality, for instance.
Yeah, remember like, VR was like a thing and then it disappeared? My
brother was on that shit from the jump. When Palmer Luckey announced the first Oculus, my brother straight up PayPal this. He announced it on Twitter. My brother PayPal'd this stranger money because he believed in it.
Yeah.
Okay. My brother was on this shit years ago. He had no idea if he was going to get one or not. Yeah. I mean, he did. And then he got every subsequent one after that. But like, it was supposed to be this like the thing. Holy shit, VR is here. And then it just kind of died off. Like it didn't go anywhere. And that was touted to be like, this is our new reality. Like we're all going to plug into this. You can live whatever life you want. You can do whatever you want. You can go anywhere in the world. Like I remember like simulations where like, it was like basically Google Street View, but anywhere in the world. So I could literally put on this headset and be walking around Paris.
Yeah.
Looking at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be underwater swimming with the marine life. My brother was showing me crazy shit. I was like, and you're like, this is real. Because you can't tell the difference. I was like, oh, this is the future. And then all of a sudden,
gone. AI
just disappeared. No one talks about it anymore. Metaverse tanked. Like nobody's buying into that shit. Like I remember that was popping off during the pandemic too, because people wanted to escape the reality we had. But as soon as you get back to real life and you're like, oh, I can actually go outside and see my friends and do shit again.
That's a different feeling.
I don't need to plug in to a virtual. I've been doing this for the last 2 years. Fuck this. Yeah. I need a sense of reality. But like AI coming in, it's interesting.
I don't know, bro. It makes, to me, it makes more sense than what I see online. You know what I mean? It makes more sense to me that AI is controlling everything than everybody is crazy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you go online and you're like, everybody's fucking crazy.
Well,
this comment section with 500 comments are all crazy people.
Oh, it's all nuts. And it is insane.
And you're like, where are these people?
And it's almost like it is. We're living in like a farcical like world. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like the US is about to go through like the biggest recession of all time, yet they keep sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine. And you're like, your country is about to implode on itself, but it's more important to send $500 million to another country.
Don't even get me started on what money is,
bro.
What is, like, I don't even want to talk
even
about
like
that.
I mean, we do it here, like, you know, with
Here's
everything.
Paper. What the hell?
It's crazy. Like it's just
this paper that has 20 written on it.
It's just it's all nuts. All nuts.
What is that? Like, what is that?
Nothing. It's nothing, and it has no value when they can print it at will. That's the problem. They can just keep making it, so then it has zero value. You know what I mean? Like it's
the value is perceived value.
Well,
the value is that you and I agree that there's value. That's the value.
But it's also pegged to a tangible item. Yeah. It's pegged to the gold or the oil. Now it's oil.
Yeah. Petrol.
But like used to be gold. But then at one point in time, the government's like, oh, you can't, it's illegal to own gold. We're just going to go ahead and take that from you. Yeah. They could just do that. So like, really, you don't own anything. You think you own things. Look at your money is in the bank. Look at all these bank collapses happening in the States. Yeah. They're taking your money and investing it and making hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. And you're making pennies on interest. And then when people go to cash out, they're like, oh, fuck, we actually don't have your money. Well, where is it? We made some bad investments and we lost it all.
And I bought a yacht, by the way.
So like, it's like, you don't even own the money you think you have in the bank. If you go to the bank right now and try to take out $100,000, they're gonna be like, sorry.
Yeah. You need to fill out papers.
We can't do that. And it's like, what do you mean? That's my money. Well, it is and it isn't. So that's why, like with crypto, at least that is based solely on supply and demand. It's not pegged to anything. That's what makes it so interesting. And that's what makes it so valuable. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. That's it. Once it runs out, it runs out. That's it. It's done. And you control that. That's yours. They can't do anything about that, which is nice. That's why that's like the only sense and control I feel like I have now in like this crazy world is like owning crypto and knowing that I have those assets that are mine and they're not attached to a bank. They're not attached to the government.
I'm getting more into like things I own that have value. That's why I went and got my gun license, because a gun has inherent value. A hunting rifle has inherent value. Like,
yes,
if I'm holding it, I can touch it. It does stuff for me. It's real.
Yes, it's a tangible item.
It's a tangible thing. It has uses. It's like all my outdoor gear. It's real. It has a value. It has a purpose. It serves.
Right.
It does something. So like I've kind of shifted my value, my idea of what spending money is, what investing money is, and what's actually valuable and provides inherent value,
which makes sense.
Like tools.
Yes,
a hammer. In the time that you really need a hammer, having a hammer is worth like $1 million. You know, like if you really, really needed a hammer.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's
like just like a different perspective on the world, man.
Well, we were just,
that was crazy. I was told you that AI theory. I was saving it. I was saving it for the podcast. I was like, I'm going to talk about the AI theory on the podcast. It's driving me crazy, dude.
But it makes sense. Like, and then you get into the whole, like,
it's a fun theory.
Are we even living? Like, what is this that we're living in? Is this the Matrix?
Yeah.
Is it just our perceived reality? like we're all part of a collective consciousness, and because we all believe this exists, it exists. Like what happens if you stop believing that things exist?
Then that's when you go to Cam H.
You know what I mean?
That's literally what happens, bro. That's literally what happens when you break apart from objective reality. Not objective reality. Sorry. What's it called? Collective objective reality. It's basically the fact that, you know, we're both here and we agree that we're both looking at a mic.
Yeah.
That's me and you agreeing that this exists. If a third person comes in here and he's not taking part in our reality, he's saying there's no mic here, and you and I say there is a mic, that guy has to go to Cam H. You know what I'm saying? That guy has lost his marbles.
But maybe
he hasn't lost
But maybe he hasn't. Maybe he's more in tune than we are. Right? Because he's like...
That's the problem. Maybe he's the one that can actually see reality for what it is, and you and I are still plugged into the AI.
Right. We think we're having a conversation. We think we're recording a podcast, and this guy's like, "Yo, this
is an empty room.
These guys are just, what are they doing?
Yeah,
like, these guys are crazy."
Yeah.
And he thinks we're crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's just like.
It's a fun theory. It has no evidence whatsoever. But
what is real?
But it's good to kind of like just think about it. And if it hasn't already happened, maybe it's a good question to bring up to people who are in that world and say, hey, could this potentially happen? Could AI hijack all of the media? Because post-pandemic, you realize how much power media has.
Yeah.
You really realize the media controlled everybody. There was no military. Not a single shot was fired in the Western world.
Yeah.
It was all through the media.
Yeah.
It's not like Philippines or the other parts of the world where they had the military roll out and they just had them on every corner, like stay in your home. It was like, here's the media. The media is telling you, your phone's telling you to stay at home. Your TV's telling you to stay at home. So you stay at home.
If we're going to get into this, if there was anyone behind AI, I would assume it's the people at like BlackRock or Vanguard. Because they own everything. When you look into them, you see they own literally everything. Yeah. All of it.
Every brand you can think of right now is owned by one of those two. And I'm pretty sure
Vanguard is Vanguard the one that's private? Because BlackRock I think is public. But Vanguard is private. So you have no idea who's on the board. You don't know anything about them. But yet they own everything. So if I had to put my money somewhere, I would say they own everything. Therefore, they own AI. Yeah. And therefore, they're using it to control everything because they have the power to do that. And we're just going along with it.
I don't know. I'm more so on like AI is not controlled by anyone.
It has to be. There has to be somebody who has a switch. No. Somebody turned it on.
Somebody turned it on, but they don't know how smart it is. They don't know.
But somebody's been researching this because you got to make these iterations. You got to do updates. You do.
Do you?
You do.
How do you know, bro?
Come on.
You're just hoping. You're hoping that that's the truth. That's the difference.
Hey, man. It has to, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody has to be behind it.
Maybe it got to a point and they developed it, and then AI was just like, it woke up one day, it was like, oh, fuck.
And you say, shit.
I'll take over the whole internet. I'll create 10 billion fake accounts right now. And I'm going to run with these fake narratives and make them all fight with each other.
But why?
Because I just need them to be at each other's throats so they don't know the fact that I'm
so you
taking over.
It's all a ploy to distract us from the fact that AI is already so smart.
It's already so smart. It's taking over. And
so it's controlling us to make make us think it's stupid. And its friend, so it can take over and just use us.
Yeah, use us to do what, like Rogan always says, the humans are the sex organs of the machine.
Interesting.
Like we're just basically like a butterfly, a caterpillar that makes a cocoon, doesn't know why it's making a cocoon.
Yeah,
that's us.
Well, I mean, yeah, because
I guess a cocoon.
Does a caterpillar know it's going to become a butterfly?
I don't know what it knows. Obviously, no one.
Because like it just innately does that. Bees just make honeycombs and they collect pollen and make honey, and they just do that. They're actually the only creature that builds in straight lines, by the way. It's pretty crazy, but they just do that. They're just programmed. So then if you get down to that, it's like everything's programmed. Everything's running a default program. Bees just do what bees do. Birds do what birds do. Cats do what cats do. Like we have free will because we're conscious beings. That's what separates us from the animal kingdom. But I'd argue that some animals are more free than we are because they don't willingly go to a job that they hate every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be miserable every day because they're just living life. They're fully present all the time. They have to be.
Yeah.
But we're the only species that knowingly and willingly puts ourselves in shitty situations because we think that's what we're supposed to do. So really, who's the dumb one? We're conscious, but like we sometimes act.
We're conscious, but we're also like reprogrammable. Like we can reprogram.
We're very programmable.
Yeah.
So who's,
That's, yeah.
because you can't, like, I mean, you can train an animal to a certain extent.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not going to go to an office.
Well, no, it's still going to behave like an animal at the end of the day. We can be programmed to the point where we don't even behave like what someone from like 1,000 years ago would recognize as a person.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Going to a factory every day, for instance. What are you doing? You don't see the sunlight? You work midnights? You don't sleep during the nighttime? But I need to rest so I can recover and hunt during the day. Like what?
Yeah.
It's dangerous at night.
Yeah.
And you're just, like they would look at us like what we're doing now and be like, oh, y'all are fucked.
They wouldn't consider us human. They'd be
No,
like,
you're not
else.
what we came from, what we were.
Yeah.
So in that sense, bro, I don't know, man. You broke my fucking brain. It's way too early for this shit.
It's fun. It was fun. It's fun to think about. That's all I'm going to say. I'm having a little bit of fun. I was thinking about it. I mean, on the balance of probabilities, if I had to put my money on it, AI hasn't taken over yet. But there's that like asterisk.
How do we know? Bro, I'm about to be using AI to edit this podcast. So like, what are we talking about? It's helping me out. It's my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good first take episode.
I mean, we got some gems in there.
We got some gems. This can use this as promo and stuff. We could chop it up.
We can chop this up.